This is the final video in the series about relational databases, and it's the one that is going to lead into your assessment, the database part of the assessment you're going to be doing. So this is the stage we've reached. We've now got a layout that shows all the customer information here, all the order information, and also the products that were purchased on that order. But it looks a bit boring, doesn't it? And if we need to move through the records, I've got to use these buttons up here at the top, the forward and backward arrows, to go through them. It would be much nicer if we could make this layout more presentable, more appealing, and it'll be more useful in that sense as well. So we're going to make a few changes to it. And the idea is that, having made all these changes, we're going to end up with something that looks a little bit more like this. As you can see in this one, we've got a title. We've put our heading in at the top of the layout. We've got a little logo because it's a boutique, so we've got a dress. We've moved some of this information around so it looks better. It presents better. Customer details, I've managed to match the color there. Order details, product details. So, and also we've, instead of having to use the buttons right at the top of the screen, we're now using buttons that we've put in here. So we can scroll through our records here and look at each customer in time. If necessary, we can find a customer. So we click on find, and somebody phones up and says, oh, your surname? Yes, my surname is Smith. And then I hit the return key on my keyboard, and it says, okay, I'm finding the record for Mr. Smith. Is there only one record? Yeah. Oh, sorry, Kenneth Smith has actually bought a chiffon dress. Well done, Kenneth. Very pleased with that. Must have been a present for his wife, we hope. But I'm only showing the one record. So as you can see, I can see if I hit next, nothing changes. So I've only got the one record. So I could click show all. Now I can see all my records again, and I can scroll through them. You'll notice a couple of other things that have changed as well. Down here, as well as giving the information about the product, it's also giving a description. We've put that in as well. And we've increased it to show up to five products. Okay. So, how do we do all these changes? And how are you going to be able to make these changes so that you get this sort of effect? Now, your assessment will not be to actually reproduce this one exactly, but to reproduce your version of it. What would you like to have in the way you've laid it out? And we're going to be asking you to do, first of all, a hand-drawn sketch that you annotate, explaining the fonts you've used, the positioning, the logo or the images you might have put in, why you position the different elements and the different portal windows on the layout where you put it, the buttons you put in. And there's lots of other little things you can do. So this is the finished product, roughly. Yours is going to be slightly different, and that's what we're going to be assessing. Okay, let's go back to where we were. So this is the point that we'd reached at that point. Okay. Again, as I said, let's put in some buttons first of all so that we can tidy things up and move between it a little easier. So remember, we go over to the right-hand side, we go into Edit Layout. When we're in Edit Layout, we can then go to Insert, and we can insert a button. Now you did this last year, so it should be a memory thing. First button we're going to put in is called Previous. So the last one, or Previous button. What are we going to want that button to do? Well, not nothing. We want it to do something. We want it to perform a single step. So here goes our single step. It's going to navigate. So it brings up this window, and as you can see, there's a navigate folder here. That's closed at the moment, that little arrow. Okay, any of these can be opened or closed. So we're going to open the navigation one, and we're going to go to a particular record. See what it says, go to record? Now clicking on it once isn't enough. We've just selected it, but we actually need to import it into the list of button actions. So we'd have to double click on it, and now it comes up here as the first thing that's going to happen. Okay. Do we want it to go to the first record? No, we want it to go to the previous record. So I clicked on the word first, which was that one, and then we've changed it to say previous. It's going to the previous record. And now we can go OK. The third part down here under options, you might have options closed. If you click on the little arrow, it becomes options open. And now you can choose to change the cursor to a hand over button. All right, and I'll show you what that means. Okay, so there we are. We've set up our first little button. We can close it. But it's sitting up here in the wrong place. I'm going to move it down, and I'm actually going to put it into the footer. And as you can see, as I move it around, it allows me to adjust different things, make sure it's in the middle, and do there. So there's my first button gone in. Okay, pretty cool. Okay, let's see if we can put in the second button very, very quickly. You follow along if you wish to. Insert button. The button is going to be called next. What do we want it to do? We want it to do a single step. We go into navigation. We choose go to portal record, not the first, but the next one. Okay, and go OK. Remember to click that little one so it goes into the right. It becomes a hand when we change it over. Move it around, resize it. Okay. So we've done two. To put in the other two buttons, the find and the show all, we just follow along the same way. So we're going to go in and insert a button. Find is the name of a button, and the action again is a single step. It's still under navigation. This one is, and it's called Enter Find Mode. Double click Enter Find Mode. Don't specify anything particular and go OK. Click the cursor, close the window, move it up, reposition it as we did. And the last one I'll just show you really quickly so that you're aware how to do them all. Insert button. Now you can put in more buttons if you wish to. You can do some other things if you want to be creative. But we're looking at the design as well. So this last one is show all. Single step. This one comes slightly further down. You've got to try and find this one. I can never find this one. Anybody help me? It's called show all. Probably gone past it, have I already? Is it still under navigation? No, it's not. Where is it? It's here somewhere. Save records. Show all records. Don't know why they put it. It comes under found sets. Show all records. Double click. Make sure you always double click so it comes up here in the list of actions and go OK. Okay, change my cursor. So now I can just move this one up so it lines up. See how when I get it in the line, it puts a little line across, a little blue line, so you know that they're lined up. So after you've completed your find, the show will bring them all back. Now, while I've got this one selected, come across and have a look at this inspector here on the right-hand side. And we've got different things we can do with the inspector. If you've got that, haven't got that open, we go to Edit, oh no, sorry, View. Go to View and Inspector. Okay, that turns that on and off. So with Inspector on, we can see this. At the moment, our buttons are filled with a gradient. We haven't specified the gradient, but we could fill them with a solid color. Okay, we could choose a solid color to fill them in if we wanted to. The color is white at the moment. Double click on it and it brings up a whole range of colors. If you want more colors, you can choose the color wheel as well. Okay, so there's lots of things you can do to make the button a different color. You can increase the line around the outside. You might not want to have a line around your button. You want to make it so that they don't know that there's a button there. So if I go to none and click off it, it looks like that. But remember, I've made it white, not a gradient, so it will show up in that way. So I've gone to fill as none. If I made the fill gradient, yeah. Oh, sorry, I hadn't selected that. Select that button. Make the fill gradient. Now click off it. And there's a button there, but you can't really see there's a button there. That's pretty good, isn't it? Okay, so there's things you can do with the button. As I said, line was none there. If I wanted to, maybe remember you've got to have it selected. I keep forgetting to do that. If I made it a solid line, I could do that. I could adjust the corner radius of it. So there's different things you can do with your buttons to make them unique and peculiar just to you. So that's something you can think about as well with your layout. Okay, so we've put our buttons in. Now let's put in our little header. This is putting any text on your layout is really easy. You just use the text tool, thank you. Comes down and I can draw my text box. Once I draw my text box, I can put in my text. Okay, pretty boring text. Do you agree? I agree. We'll go to format, select it, format. I can change the font. Okay, so I can go for a different font. I can go back into format and I can change the size, and I can make the size bigger. What else can I do? I can change the text color. So I could choose a color for my text. I can change the line spacing between it. I can line it left. We're not worried about that so much. I can do other little things with it as well. So remember, it's under format. Okay, so format it. Now I can move it up and put it into sort of position. So that's very easily something you can do. Okay. Do I need, remember I'm always still in edit mode, do I need all these other information as well? Is it obvious what they are? Can I just delete them? Yep, I can get rid of those. And then I can start moving things around. Customer ID, I know is a short number, it only goes up to 100, so I don't need all that space. Customer name, let's move that up so it lines up. Move it in. Customer surname, put that next to it. Move it in. Now let's put all the address details in. Can you see how I'm moving things around really easy? Okay. Do I need these? I've selected them all. I don't need them. Email and phone. If I do two together, they will move together, which makes life a bit easier for moving things around. So I've done it very quickly. I've moved some things around. Do you remember if a moment I wanted to change the number of products, I double click on it. At the moment it says 6 rows. If I want to change that to 4 or 5 rows, I just change that number there. So there's a few things you can do. Now, remember to put your logo in. I didn't show you how to do that. Insert a picture. Just insert a picture. Go and find a picture you've saved. There's the one I'd saved there. It's called Smag's logo. Okay. So I'd got that off the internet. I then used Photoshop to tighten it up a little bit, so I got what I wanted from it. I then saved it as a PNG or a GIF, so it's an invisible image, so it hasn't got a background, and then we can use that image. Now, if you want to be really clever, you can go to this thing up here called Enlightened. This is the last thing I'm going to show you, and it gives you different preset themes for your layout. Now, you'll notice some of these say touched. These, can you see this little bit here? It all says touch. That's if you're using a layout for particularly for an iPad or for an iPhone. So they are touch layouts. Other layouts are slightly different. You can choose one of these if you want to. Okay, and there's quite a lot you can go through to choose a different one. What I would do is remember one you're on now, just in case. Yeah, the current theme is Enlightened. This is this one here. That's where we are at the moment. So if you go and change it and you think, God, how do I get back to the one I had before? We started with Enlightened. Okay, so you can choose all different themes if you wish to and choose different things. So that's a sort of a quick way of doing it as well. Okay, if you really want to, you can change other things as well. Yeah, within here, if I click on one of these, again, I've got this information. See how I can use my inspector? So I can change the way my little boxes look as well. Exit my layout, and I come down back to this. I go next, next, next. Show all my records, find a record, record 100 I'd like please, hit the return key, there it is, there's my record 100, but it won't hit me the next and the previous now don't work because I'm only showing one record. I now need to show all records, okay, and I've got them all showing again, and now my next will work and I can scroll through. So that's very quickly, that's what you have to do for your assessment. You have to reach this point. You have to come up with your own design for the layout, draw it on an A4 sheet, annotate it, so you're going to write around explaining why you have done it, why you have chosen that. You'll then actually do it on your FileMaker, using FileMaker to tidy this up, just as I've shown you. And finally, we're going to ask you to do a little evaluation just to write up a little evaluation. So I suggest you ask one of your colleagues what they thought of it, how you might improve it if you have more time, what other features you might want to include. Okay, that's me done. I hope you've managed to follow along on this video.